Hi there folks, it's Deni. You know, new games are coming out so often these days that a lot of people kind of don't even have a chance to see them and often miss the ones they might like. So here I am. I've put together in one video all the recently released games that are worth your attention, so you don't have to check a bunch of sources to find something cool. So let's get started. But before we begin, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Okay, let's get started. You know, I've been kind of playing a lot of the new Diablo 4 lately, so I guess this will be the first thing I show you today. It's a role-playing action game that continues the events of Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls and retains the basic principles of the Diablo series. Well, that means you choose one of several classes, fight your enemies, collect loot and develop your skills. And what's more, Diablo 4 saw a lot of cool new stuff like an open world, co-op mode, PvP zones and improved character creation system that allows you to customize the appearance of the character to your liking and a bunch of other stuff. The kind of game needs something to entice and retain players, and for this purpose there is a system of improving the character. The game has skill trees that allow you to enhance various aspects of your character, such as passive abilities, combat and elemental skills, enhance existing abilities or unlock new ones. There are also enhancement metrics in the game that allow you to continue to improve your character at higher levels, but I think you are better off looking into that for yourself. Next up we have System Shock. It's a remake of the iconic 1994 game that started the immersive simulation game genre. It's a first-person game that takes you to a space station overrun by an evil artificial intelligence called Shodan, and now you have to try to hack it. Yes, you play as a hacker who must survive this hell and prevent Shodan from destroying humanity. And no, this game is not like the easy, intuitive Watch Dogs. You will have to explore a lot of area, fight a lot of enemies, solve puzzles, improve your skills and equipment, and even sometimes face ethical problems. There is a non-linear plot, like everything depends on your actions and decisions, and depending on how you handle it, you'll get one of multiple endings, and you can also choose the difficulty level according to your liking. I've got something for horror fans too. This is Amnesia the Bunker. It is a first-person survival horror game where you have to explore the catacombs of a World War I bunker, while trying not to get caught in the clutches of a mysterious photosensitive monster. Surviving in the bunker is not easy, so to do so you will need to keep the generators running, collect resources and ammunition and so on. You can also use a revolver and other items like grenades and torches to fight enemies, because ammo is, well, a very rare resource here. The bunker is poorly lit, and if the fuel in the generators runs out, it will get completely dark, and then the monsters will hunt you down. And trust me, you won't like it. So this game will keep you constantly in suspense. Unlike previous Amnesia games, this one is kind of a half-open world, so you'll have more freedom to explore and complete your tasks the way you want. And if you want to fight someone and kick their ass instead of all that running and hiding, then welcome to Street Fighter 6. It's a new fighting game created by Capcom with 3 mods for you: World Tour, Fighting Ground and Battle Hub. World Tour is a story mode. You can choose one of several characters and get to know their story. Fighting Ground is the classic one-on-one combat mode. You can fight with AI and other players too. And Battle Hub is like a social mod where you can communicate with other players, create your own teams and participate in cool tournaments and events. What's more, there is a new combat system using drive gauge. It's like a special bar that fills up as you deal or take damage. You can use drive gauge to perform 5 different techniques that affect your attack or defense. Most drive gauge mechanics are based on pre-existing mechanics from previous Street Fighter games like parry, focus attack, X move and others. But the thing is, it's all done very conveniently here, and the moves themselves have become much more spectacular, so you should definitely give it a try. Killer Frequency is a unique horror puzzle game that will take you back to 1987. Here we'll take on the role of a nighttime radio host in a small American town. Your job is, of course, to entertain your audience with your jokes and music, but also, like, save them from a murderer who hunts them over the phone. As for gameplay, it has like 2 sides: the radio show and the exploration. First, you kind of sit at a table in your studio and talk to the characters on the phone. You can choose from multiple answers, ask them questions, give them advice, try to make them feel better or make them angry, and your choices can affect the fate of each of them. And as for exploring, well, you're free to move around the radio station and explore it, find all sorts of useful items and so on. The graphics here are stylized for the 80s, like with bright colors and all sorts of retro details, and the soundtrack is just great. So if you wanted something with great atmosphere, this game will be a great choice for you. Next we have Friends vs. Friends. This is a bright shooter with unique card mechanics. Here you can choose from several characters, each with different abilities that affect the synergy of the deck as a whole. The deck consists of weapon cards, traps and spells that you can use in combat. The cards can be improved and combined with each other, creating all sorts of cool strategies and tactics. Also, for those who like to customize anything and everything, there are skins and different cars designs. There are also several mods, like you can fight with other players in online 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 matches, or arrange a custom match with your friends. And you can also practice against the AI too, like try out new card combinations or improve your skills. Plus, the game itself looks awesome. It feels like you're in a cartoon, but with blood, bones and black humor. Well, next we have Riders Republic. This is an extreme multiplayer racing game created by Ubisoft. Here you can become a part of a huge sports community and take part in different kinds of extreme and incredibly traumatic and real-life sports, such as cycling through the mountains, skiing, snowboarding from steep slopes, and base jumping. And all this in a huge open world that allows you to visit legendary national parks. You can also compete against other players in different game modes like downhill and team competitions, or challenge yourself in special events. And if you fancy a bit of mayhem, you can try to take first place, or well, at least not drop out in a race with a common start for 50 players. What about indie games? I've got Army of Ruin for you. It's an auto shooter with an overhead view, where, along with the legendary heroes, you must destroy the army of evil. There will be a bunch of levels with different landscapes, obstacles and enemies. The levels are randomly generated, so you'll encounter something new every time. Each enemy has different abilities and behavior. Some will shoot at you from a distance, others will try to get close and attack you in close combat. There are also the bosses that will, well, really grind your nerves. In general, this game is very similar to Vampire Survivors, which I have talked about a couple of times in my previous video. Same basic gameplay, monster wave timer and boosted enemies, upgrades for gold, unlockable characters, level challenges, different weapons and equipment, but that doesn't make the game any worse. One of the most expected games of this year is the Elder Scrolls Online Necrom. This add-on for the popular MMORPG takes us to the Telvanni in Morrowind, where you can solve the mysteries of Apocrypha. Here you'll find giant mushroom towers, sharp cliffs, misty swamps, and desolate plains with lots of enemies on them. The peninsula is also home to the city of Necrom, a sacred place for the Mer, home to the remains of their kings and gods, and Necrom is not just like a necropolis, it is a whole city with its own culture, architecture and secrets. In addition, you will also be able to try a new character class, the Rune Master. It's like a unique dude who uses runic magic based on ancient science and forgotten books. He can also use special items, a rune book with a bunch of spells and effects that you can use in battle. Have you ever wanted to create your own game? If you have, welcome to Games Tycoon 2. It's a game development simulation where you create your own studio and release games. Well, it's pretty simple here. You start your career in 1976 in a small garage and gradually develop your studio, explore new technologies and possibilities, create or license game engines and make decisions that will affect the success of your project. In general, your goal here is to become not only a developer, but also a producer and a console manufacturer, like to control the entire game market. You can really do anything you want here. You can create MMOs, free-to-play games, mobile games and so on. What's more, you can build your own offices, production facilities and server rooms, participate in game shows and win awards and recognition for your games. You can also try a free demo of Lies of P. It's an action Souls-like RPG based on the novel Adventures of Pinocchio. But if you think this is some kind of fairy tale for kids, well, you are wrong. This is a true horror story full of blood, horror and lies. In Lies of P, you play as a puppet boy who wakes up in an abandoned train station in the town of Crete. Your goal is to find Mr. Geppetto, who is supposedly in this town, but this will not be easy because Crete is a place of madness and bloodlust, where all living beings have been turned into ugly mechanical puppets. So you'll have to fight everyone who gets in your way. You'll be able to enjoy deeply that out combat system and an exciting plot. You'll be able to choose different weapons and fighting styles, as well as improve your abilities and characteristics. You'll also be able to influence the course of the story with your decisions or, well, your lies. Lying here is very important to the protagonist. Apparently, the developers were inspired by that story about the wooden boy who had a growing nose every time he lied. Next, we have an RPG focused on boss fights Voidigo. You and the main character find yourselves in different worlds full of colorful pixel monsters, and your task is to destroy them all without dying yourself. You can choose from a variety of weapons and upgrades to customize your style of play to the specific situation. Weapons here are both ranged and melee, each with their own characteristics and effects. Each level is randomly generated, each boss requires a different tactics and strategy, and each weapon and upgrade can change the game dramatically. Plus, you can play either alone or with friends in co-op mode. By the way, what do you think about such colorful pixel games? Do you like them, or you are more into realistic graphics? Write down in the comments below. You know, racing games are mostly associated with all sorts of sports cars, but what about motorcycles? I think they deserve to be mentioned too, so I've got MotoGP 23 for you. It's a sequel to the famous series created by Milestone. In this part, the developers bring even more realism, dynamics and exciting races. The game features all the official categories of motorcycle championships and more than 100 20 riders and 20 tracks from around the world. Plus there is 9 season 2009 mode where you can compete against some of the most exciting racing legends in MotoGP history. Needless to say, you will be able to upgrade your bike, improve its performance and customize it as you wish. The main features of this game is dynamic weather changes, so each race will be like a little bit different from all the others. For example, sometimes you will have to drive in a rainstorm, which reduces visibility and worsens grip on the track, making it easier to lose control. However, the new Neuro Assistance system, which use artificial intelligence, can like intervene at key moment in the race to keep your bike from crashing. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found something interesting, and if so, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's been Deni, see you guys soon.